Breaking news, the Sun Devils basketball team just flipped five-star guard Joson Sanon from Arizona.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Wherever you get your podcast, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. You can follow me on Twitter at RichieBrats36 and the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Guys, it doesn't get much bigger than this. ASU basketball and Bobby Hurley have been recruiting like their hair is on fire. It was already a good recruiting class. ASU had a top 20 recruiting class when they landed Amir Ali, Sammy Ine, Bo Aldridge. Two 4-stars and a 3-star, all of them top 25 recruits in Arizona. Then they landed Jaden Quaintance a month ago. 5-star center, the highest ever recruit ASU was ever landed for basketball. They got him. And today, a month later exactly, they get another 5-star in Joson Sanon, a shooting guard from Vermont Academy in Saxtons River, Vermont. 6'5", 188 pounds. He is a ridiculously high 4-star, depending on your source, but he is a 5-star. Through and through, this is a 5-star kid. And it's insane. What is going on at Arizona State? We've never seen this before. And maybe if we have, then let me know, because I don't think we have ever seen ASU recruiting at the level that they are recruiting right now. And there's so many different things that are racing through my mind. That's the point of this show. This is your raw reaction that I like to give you guys. Tomorrow, we will be talking about Joson Sanon and the impact that this is going to have on ASU basketball. Because this is nuts. This is insane. Nobody would have told you going into the offseason, after the season the Sun Devils had, where it was arguably the worst season that Bobby Hurley has had at Arizona State. You were talking about potentially firing and moving on from him. He signs the extension, and things are going crazy. You already had a top 20 recruiting class, and then you add Jaden Quaintance, and then you add Joson Sanon, and it's like this is an unrecognizable program from what you saw a year ago. And they still brought in a bunch of really good transfers. Brandon Gardner, BJ Freeman, Alston Mason, Bashir Jahad, and Austin Nunez. That's a good core to bring in for transfers. And now you look at this recruiting class, and I'm not going to lie to you, you could make a starting lineup here. Seriously, like you've got 2 forwards, a center, and 2 guards. You could build a starting lineup with 5 true freshmen. I don't know that Arizona State has ever been able to say that. This is unreal. This is uncharted territory for Arizona State. What do we do? I don't know what to do with my hands, as Ricky Bobby would say. I don't know what to do with my hands. What are we doing? What's going on? What is in the water at Arizona State? The first thing that comes to my mind for why things might be different, not going to be surprised. NIL is starting to get figured out. ASU is activating the Valley, ladies and gentlemen. They're activating this friggin' Valley, and look what's going on. Your original 3 kids, all are Valley kids. Amir Ali, Glendale, Arizona, Sammy Ine, Chandler, Bo Aldridge, Phoenix. These are homegrown kids, and now you're adding kids that are out of state. The NIL is becoming a real thing for Arizona State very, very quickly. This is this is indicative of the way ASU is going to be trending moving forward. What have they called us for years, ladies and gentlemen? The sleeping giant. Did it wake up? Did the sleeping giant that is Arizona State finally wake up? We're going to dive into more of my opinions here in just a moment, but we got to take a quick break. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers to roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. All the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Back in, and what is going on? What is going on at Arizona State that they are recruiting at such a ridiculous level? This episode, again, is pure reactionary. This is not scripted. This is simply me going, oh my God, what's going on? What do we do if you're Arizona State? Look at this basketball program right now. You are a team that is in repair. There's been a lot of transfers out of the program in the last several years. You just lost one of your best players, if not your best player, in Frankie Collins this offseason. Jemiah Neal departs from the program. There were a lot of questions about this team. Adam Miller and Sean Phillips decided to return. That was huge for the team. To have two of your starters return, having them back made you think that maybe ASU could navigate a little bit. And then you looked at the recruiting class that was coming in with Ali, Ine, and Aldridge, and you were like, okay, we're getting some young guys. We're getting some very talented guys. There's 2 4-stars. One of them's a really high 3-star. You felt good about it. You were like, yeah, no, this is a good recruiting class. 3 guys in the top 200. More than good. Tack the transfer portal. That's what we're used to. That's what we're used to anymore at Arizona State with the basketball program. This is another year where they were going very aggressively in the transfer portal. And again, you bring in Brandon Gardner, BJ Green, Alston Mason, Bashir Jihad, Austin Nunez, Mason and Freeman, 4-star transfers. Gardner, a former 4-star recruit out of high school. Austin Nunez, a former 4-star recruit after high school. Bashir Jihad, somebody who took off at Ball State and brought size to your team. You looked at the transfers that were coming in. You looked at who you brought back. And you were like, okay, well, we should be a team that's competitive, at least. The problem was you were going to the Big 12, arguably the best conference for college basketball, and you were like, is this enough? And I would have looked at this team before Sanon and Quaintance committed. And I would have told you, you should be competitive. You should be above 500. I could see 20 wins, because you're going to have a group that's really determined to be better than what they were last year. I did not see another bad season incoming for Arizona State. But now with all the additions that you've made, with so many talented transfers coming in, and with probably the greatest recruiting class Arizona State basketball has ever had, what's your limit? What's your ceiling? How good can this team be? I mean, are we talking about, I'll throw it out there. Are you talking about placing top 4 in the Big 12? Are you talking about, God forbid, winning the Big 12? If there was ever an opportunity, it would be this one. And it's not like a 1-year thing either, because Jaden Quaintance has to play 2 years. Joson Sanon you could convince him to play 2 years with Jaden Quaintance. Who knows what goes on with these other kids too? If the season goes well enough, you might be able to return this core for at least another year and then continue to recruit your you-know-what off. Let's take a look at the top kid for next year's class, Koa Pete. Maybe you convince him to come to Arizona State. This might be the turning point for the program. This might be where we finally start annually competing. And as much as I am excited, and I am very excited, I also need to remind myself to slow down a little bit, because this is a team that is not historically, this is a program rather, that has not historically been dominant at basketball. It's not going to be overnight and they are instantly better. They are taking massive strides forward to get to that point, though. This is insane. The monumental waves that you have created now. Wild. I am so beyond excited for ASU basketball. And I don't know that I've ever thought that before. But between the transfers, the key returners, and an unbelievable freshman class, we might be in for something special here for the 2024-25 season and maybe beyond, because recruiting might take a whole other step forward. This is insane. And I encourage you guys to get excited about Sun Devils basketball like we never have been before. And I'll keep you guys up to date. We will be talking about this in a lot more detail tomorrow once I am able to gather my thoughts and have a little more concrete thoughts. Yeah, I'll have more thought out thoughts. We'll talk about it tomorrow, though. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. Thank you for tuning in to this emergency edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. Make sure that to get updated when we have emergency episodes, you hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications wherever you're getting your shows. I'll keep you up to date on Twitter at RichieBrads36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. But a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. And thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Like I said, we will be back tomorrow as I have a little more well thought out opinions on everything here. We're going to talk about what this means and more. I'll see you then. Till next time, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.